Hi there, my name's Rou. I'm the publishing editor for Tonic magazine, and I'm here to talk to you today about the all-new Flux V2. I've got two versions of this wing here with me on the beach, and I've been testing these over the last month or so, perhaps a little bit longer. Had them out in loads of different conditions. Gusty winds, strong winds, light winds. We've really been putting them through the paces, testing them back to back, trying to figure out what the difference is between the two wings, which are the advantages, what are the disadvantages. And the idea of this review is to tell you which one you should buy when you're looking at getting a new Flux V2. So let's have a little look at the standard stuff on the beach and things like that. So the differences between them. I've got the Alula version here, which is the Ultra X version, and it features a full Alula frame. So we've got Alula leading edge and an Alula strut here. Now that Alula material is much lighter and stiffer than a standard Dacron. So what that does in the wing, it makes something that's really, really light to hold. Aids with the balance of it because there's less weight in the overall leading edge, so therefore there's less balance to tip and the weight isn't so much of a factor, and it just creates something that's much stiffer when you're pumping the wing as well, if you're coming down from jumps and things like that. So that's the first difference between the two, is the construction. This version is using a high tenacity Dacron rather than Alula for the leading edge and the strut. They're both using Teijin ripstop canopy material. So let's have a little look at some of the other differences as well. Both of these wings come with a leash, which is lovely because some brands aren't shipping with leashes now. Nice little detail on these. You've got a little swivel there, so if you are doing lots of tacks and twisting that wing around you, you're not going to get loads of twists in your leash, which is great. Now the Alula version ships with this, which is their lightweight harness. It comes with a hook that you can see here. I'll do a close-up of that so you can check that out, but it comes with a harness hook, so you've got that available to you, and it also ships standard with a harness line attached there. So if you can see that, I'll try and show you that. So you've got the harness line as well as the harness, and that just comes ready fitted to the wing, all ready to go. What's great about that, if you haven't ridden with a harness before, it's quite nice just to be able to jump on, put this together. This waist leash is so minimalistic, it just feels like you're wearing a waist leash really. You don't really feel like it's a harness at all, and it just gives you the ability to hook in, take some of the pressure off your arms whenever you feel like it. Now, the standard version also comes with a leash, but it's just a straight waist leash. It's quite a bulky, decent waist leash, really well made, high quality, nice to see. Doesn't have the harness line on it. So that's the basic differences between the two. There's also a difference in the bag. You get an extra bag with the Ultra X version, which just is to help you protect this Alula material, because while it's billed by the marketing departments as being super tough and super strong, it is expensive. It's something that you're going to want to make sure you look after and treat with some care and respect. So having an extra option to put in an extra bag, just to give it that extra security when you're traveling around or you're flying or anything like that, give you a bit more peace of mind. So those are the physical differences between the two. In terms of the actual shape and things like that, I'll show you a little bit now, but the canopy on these is really tight. That's something they've gone for this year. So the Flux V2 is overtaken from the Flux. When the Flux hit the market, it creates quite a storm. It was one of the first really sort of wing 2.0s that had a lot of performance built into it. It was great for free riding, great for wave riding. Everyone that tried it kind of loved it. This new version, what they've tried to do is put a little bit more shape in here, a lot more tension in that canopy. And when you're riding this wing, there's absolutely zero flutter. So these wings are truly silent when you're riding. There's no flutter at all. They've both got a couple of battens in the trailing edge here, which helps stop that trailing edge flutter, but there really is absolutely no noise from these wings at all. So you're silent winging every time you go out, which is fantastic. Something I really enjoy with these wings. Another similarity to them is they're both using these carbon composite handles covered with an EVA foam. These were launched on the Flow wing last year, I believe, and they're both featured here. This year, the front handle is longer. That allows you to fly the wing one-handed, as you can see I'm doing now. It's quite easy to do. You can move your hand up and down on that and get the control over it. Great for freestyle tricks, great for getting out in the waves, great for just using it to sort of tow you a little bit. Also really handy when you're tacking, jibing, wiping your nose, whatever it might be, waving at your mates. That longer handle is going to be something you appreciate. So really liking the handles on both of these wings. Also, this front handle here, and same on both of them, it's been stiffened up for this year. So when when you're free flying the wing on the waves and stuff like that. It just gives you a little bit more control over it, just feels a little bit tighter, so it's nicely balanced. In terms of the construction of both wings, both of these wings are made at the Parapex factory, which is owned by Ozone. That's out in Vietnam. And the build quality of any Ozone product is absolutely second to none. They really put a lot of passion into it. Now, we've seen build quality in the standard version. Ozone have been having those wings for some time. It's always really good. Leading edge seams are really neat. All the stitching's really neat. It's really impressive the way the whole thing's put together. What I would say is I've seen a lot of brands using the Alula material now, and it is quite a tricky material to work with. And that often leads to sort of, I don't want to say defects, but little things that you spot when it's been put together. Because it's so difficult to work with, sometimes the stitching isn't very neat, sometimes not very lined up. You sometimes see little bags and bits that you think, well, that shouldn't be there, and it doesn't look as high quality as it could do. And that's genuinely because the material is quite tricky to work with. But what Ozone seem to have done is they've perfected that, and it is absolutely beautiful. It's one of the nicest leading edge seams I've ever seen on an Alula product, and that goes for kites and wings. It's really well made, and it looks like they've really worked on putting this Alula material into their products and making sure that it's done to their exacting high standards, and it comes out looking like an Ozone product with absolutely stunning finish all round. So really impressed with the way they've worked with the Alula on this product here. So on the standard version, you can see you've still got this fantastic torque canopy. The build is pretty much identical, I'd say, in terms of the shape, the panel layout, everything like that. I'm sure they've done a few things internally to be able to work with the Alula material and make the difference. But when you pick up both wings, you can't really tell a difference apart from the colour of the material. You do feel that weight though. So standing here holding the wing like this, I'm noticing there's a lot more weight in the standard version than there is with the Alula version. That just means that the Alula version feels much lighter to fly and just feels a little bit, you know, less like you're holding something in your hand. It's almost like there's nothing there. But in terms of the shape and the build, they're the same. Another new feature for this year is the window placement. So they've changed where they've put these windows in, and they're actually really good now. You can see quite clearly through them pretty much with just a glance. You don't have to move the wing around too much to be able to see. So thumbs up for me on that one. Now let's talk about how these wings ride, which is really what you're here for. So in terms of their performance, these are some of the best wings that I've flown so far this year. I do a lot of testing on wings, get to fly a lot of different ones, and I have to say that these are stunning. I mentioned earlier that flapping, the solid canopy, it just feels really good. They've got quite a big, thick, chunky leading edge. When I first pumped them up, I looked at the leading edge and I thought, oh, that's quite large. A lot of brands are going for thinner leading edges, cuts through the wind better, better aerodynamics, makes it easier for tacking as well, pushing that wing through the window as you're going into the wind. So I was keen to see how these flew. And what I would say is this wing has a lot of low end power. They're really great for getting you going early. Both versions are good for that. And also when you're flying through the air, it's very fast, right? This canopy shape is really, really aerodynamic. There's hardly any fluttering, so it's not creating any drag with the flutter. It just feels really fast and easy to fly. What surprised me was this thick leading edge, which adds a lot of stiffness to the overall quality of the wing. You can see when I'm pumping that, there's not a lot of movement in it at all. There's barely any flex. So even though this is the standard version, it's still got a very stiff airframe to it. But yeah, what I noticed was when you're doing your tacks and jibes, this thicker leading edge actually didn't cause the drag that I thought it might do when I was stood on the beach. These wings are really easy to throw over your head, do tacks, do jibes, you know, it just feels like a light, easy wing to throw around. So the standard version, really impressed with the performance, goes upwind like a train, lots of low end power, really fast. If you want to do free riding, if you're doing some jumps and big air, things like that, you can be able to generate a lot of power, a lot of speed, be able to get a lot of height with this wing. I like the fact that it's still quite light and still quite stiff, even though it is the standard version. I'm sure if they hadn't sent me the Alula version of this wing, I'd be talking about how stiff this wing is, because genuinely it's a really stiff, really solid, really stable wing that you're going to enjoy flying. So I love the standard version. That's the one that I'd go for unless money was no object. Now, let's talk about this version and have a little look at the Alula and what benefits that brings. So instantly, holding this again now, you feel that weight difference. This wing is a lot lighter. And while on paper, it might not weigh a lot less, when it's got wind blowing over it and it's actually generating its own lift, it almost feels like nothing. It genuinely feels like there's nothing there, like I'm barely having to hold it. On this one, I can feel it in my arm a little bit. You kind of know it's there. On this one, you really don't. So the performance benefits of the Alula. One, the weight. You really feel like you're just sort of holding on to not a lot of anything when you're riding it. Number two, the stiffness. It's markedly stiffer than the other one. It's so stiff, this wing. Like, there's no flex in the strut, there's no flex in the leading edge, and that just makes it much easier to pump, much easier to get going early. I've been using this 5 meter wing as my big wing, so I haven't used my 6 meter at all since I've got this. I've been riding around on a hybrid board with a sort of 980 foil in next to no wind, and as soon as there's a little gust, couple of pumps, this thing just gets going. So it's definitely got a little bit more low end to it. Speed wise, they're kind of equal. I wouldn't say there's any sort of real benefits in terms of the speed, but what I would say is if you're doing jumps and things like that, you'll notice that stiffer canopy and the structure of it when you're coming down to land. So you're not going to pull through the wing and distort it in any way. The wing barely distorts at any point whatsoever, so you're going to appreciate that. So it's lighter, it's stiffer. Is it worth the money? That's the question that you've got to ask. That's the question you want answered by this video. What I would say is that the Flux V2 is an absolutely incredible wing. If that was just to come out on its own, people would be raving about it. People would be queuing up in the shops to buy it, as I'm sure they will be and are, because it's out and it's available now. However, if you want the ultimate in performance, if you want that little bit extra, if you like wave riding a lot and you just want something that is behind you and you're like, oh, it doesn't feel like anything, then plump for the Alula version. Go for the Ultra X. If money's no object, you can afford it, I would do it. Now, if I was getting a quiver of these wings, what I'd probably do is I would get the larger wing in the Ultra X version, so say a 5 meter in the Ultra X, and then a 3.5 meter in the standard version, because when it's 3.5 meter weather, there's a lot more wind, it's generally a bit wilder, it's a bit crazier, plus a 3.5 meter wing doesn't weigh an awful lot. So I'd probably go 3.5 meter standard, and I definitely think I would go for the Ultra X version if I had the cash and I could afford it. Just that weight difference. When you feel them back to back, it's like, oh yeah, I can feel it there. When you're pumping in those light winds, you're going to be able to get rid of your big wing. If you've got a board that's positive volume, one of the slightly longer, narrower boards that we're riding these days, like a mid-length or even a downwind board, you're going to be able to get going in next to nothing. To sum up, these wings are fantastic. I really have enjoyed riding them. I'm going to be very upset when I have to send them back, which I've got to do this weekend. Now, the standard version, I've absolutely loved using. It's a great wing and it rips. I've ridden it a lot because I've been testing them back to back. But given the choice, I'd plump for the Ultra X version. The Alula fabric just makes it a little bit stiffer, fair degree lighter, which you really notice when you're free flying, and it's just nice to have that crisp feel. Both of these wings are incredible for tacks, jibes, going fast, riding upwind, having low end power. They're also really good when it's windy because the stable shape of the canopy and the construction of the leading edge and the strut helps them handle really powered conditions as well. I've had them both out in like 35 miles an hour when the wind's picked up, and okay, they do start to flap and shake a little bit when you're fully depowered on them, but you can still handle it and they still take it as well. Construction is absolutely second to none. This is one of the best examples of Alula construction that I've seen. I highly recommend you check these out. Go and chat to your local dealer, see if you can get a demo on one. You're not going to be disappointed with the new Flux V2, either in the standard version or the Ultra X version. They're definitely going to light your fire. I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you've got any questions, stick them in the comments. Don't forget to reach out to us at Tonic Magazine if you need anything or you want to see us review anything. We can always help with that. Most of all, don't forget to give us a like, share the video and subscribe.